right, this is the Bookin With The Boys section, first episode, and we covered Lord of the Flies. Just gonna take this off.
Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Afterward by Lois Lowry. I'm doing the paperback.
I did the audio. I listened to the first 3 chapters. Didn't take me that long. So yeah. Old book from 1950s, I thought. Always been a book that people have had to read, required reading in high school. And
1954.
I like the cover. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But we read the first 3 chapters, and so we're going to just kind of give you a summary of those chapters, and then we're going to answer some questions on it. So, Chapter 1, he introduced the main characters and sets up the novel's central conflict. Basically, a group of boys stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash begin to organize themselves. Ralph, charismatic and confident boy, meets Piggy, an overweight, intelligent boy with glasses. They find a conch shell, like the one in SpongeBob.
The magic conch.
Which Ralph uses to call the other survivors. So all the boys kind of gather around. Among them is Jack, the leader of a choir group who is aggressive and power hungry. Sounds like me. The boys elect Ralph as their chief, which frustrates Jack. To maintain order, Ralph allows Jack to lead the hunters. Ralph, Jack, and Simon explore the island and discover it is uninhabited. Jack attempts to kill a pig but hesitates, showing early signs of internal conflict. Being the confident guy he is, thought you could kill the pig, was scared. Chapter ends with a sense of excitement and tension as the boys face the challenges of survival and leadership.
Yeah.
Chapter 1. Do you remember anything kind of important from Chapter 1?
Yeah, well, Ralph was he was kind of being an ass. Like, even though he was voted the leader, like, Piggy, when he met him, Ralph and Piggy met, he's like, well, people call me this, but I don't like to be called this. And he instantly, Piggy. And so you kind of tell, like, it's boys kind of picking on each other type of thing. But it was, obviously they were trying to figure out what's going on. The imagery used to kind of describe the island was interesting. Like, it talked about, like, the scar that was left from the plane kind of sliding through.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just kind of setting the scene.
I thought
easy chapter. It was
easy
an easy
chapter. Yeah, I thought the end of it with Jack, like, being the confident guy and, like, he couldn't kill the pig and he let the pig run away. I thought that was pretty
especially when he knows everyone's hungry.
Yeah, and also too, it's like, how old are these boys? I mean, they're probably like 8 to 10, maybe 12. I don't know, but
yeah, somewhere maybe in that range, 8 to 13, 14.
Yeah, and there's no adults.
Yeah.
Actually, on the audiobook, the author, was explaining, like, why he said that people were being upset that he didn't, like, include girls in the story. And he was like, well, I don't really care. He has a British accent. He's like, I don't really care what people think. I am a boy. I was a boy, so I know boys. And so he's like, that's why I didn't do girls.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't want to bring any sort of sexualness to the book. I just wanted it to be
and that's very valid. All right, Chapter 2.
Yeah, hit it.
All right, Chapter 2. The boys hold a meeting to establish the rules and discuss their situation using the conch as, like, the tool. And, I need to know what, like, a conch, like, sounds like. Like,
sounds like a cow mooing.
Yeah. But they use the conch. It's definitely as, like, a symbol of, like, gathering.
And I didn't know, maybe this is where it comes from, but it's always like, all right, you've got the conch, you can speak. Mm-hmm. It's like a rule.
Yeah, so they you can already tell that they're trying to establish some law and order. It's like, you can only speak if you have the conch, and we're going to be respectful of everyone who's speaking for these meetings. So Ralph emphasizes the need for order and introduces the conch as a tool for speaking in meetings. He also stresses the importance of keeping a signal fire burning on the mountain to increase their chance of rescue, because they believe that, I think Ralph's dad is going to come save them.
An army guy.
And then I think they start talking about bomb potential.
They also said, he's like, yeah, my dad said the queen has a map of every island on the world. And they know where we're at.
So they have some hope.
Yeah, they do.
A little one expresses his fear of a beastie, a snake-like creature he claims to have seen. The older boys dismiss it as an imagination, but the idea plants some fear among them. So, imagine you're a bunch of kids out in some island and snakes who, we're kind of inherently afraid of. There's a snake monster on this mountain. We haven't been able to find it yet. So they create the signal fire. They use Piggy's glasses to ignite a pile of wood. However, they lose control of the flames, which quickly spread through the dry forest, destroying part of the island. In the chaos, they realize that the little one, or the Litlin, who spoke of the beastie, is missing, presumably killed by the fire.
Yeah,
pretty much it there. Starting the fire, thinking about being saved, but highlights the struggle to maintain order and kind of just foreshadowing some fear.
I think one thing I took away from this was like, dang, these boys are very handy, because think about maybe that they were Boy Scouts or their dads taught them how to do things like that, but like they started a fire. Yeah. Funny enough, with Piggy's glasses, it's like, give me those. Like, he's kind of being run over.
Yeah.
And Ralph even like got mad at him because he didn't know everyone's names. Like the one job he gave him, couldn't even do that. But I feel like Piggy's going to come back with like...
He's going to be the hero in some way.
Yeah, I agree. But the beastie, the snake, that was pretty like crazy because the kid was super serious. Like saying, he's like, I saw it. I saw the snake.
And they just kind of, no, you didn't. Like, you're just imagining things.
I think part of that's too, like, you don't even want to kind of acknowledge that because maybe it is scary for you too if you do acknowledge that.
Yeah, you see something in the dark and someone's like, I saw a ghost out there. Like, no, you didn't. You're trying to get rid of your own fear.
And then the conch too is almost like setting up a rule for like, and so it's starting to get interesting with the conch too, because it's like, all right, this is going to be a rule, but people aren't really following it to the T, and it gets into a whole idea of like, I think even Jack, or I can't remember who suggested, but like, we need more rules. We need to make some more rules so we can like, it's going to help us. And there's some rules that you do need like written down. There's, I guess, rules like of survival that can't really like govern. That's going to come up. So chapter 3. Okay, so tensions begin to rise as the boys struggle to balance survival with personal desires. Ralph and Simon work hard to build shelters, but most of the boys are more interested in playing. Makes sense. Children, they're kind of excited. Ralph grows frustrated, feeling that no one is taking responsibility. Meanwhile, Jack becomes obsessed with hunting. He spends most of his time tracking pigs, becoming increasingly primal in his behavior. So, which probably is a good thing because you need meat.
Yeah, you're going to have to eat.
He's like adapting to it.
Yeah.
And also the situation where he like couldn't, that was probably like a turning point for him. Like, now this is what I need to do.
Yeah, the path of overcoming.
Yeah. Ralph and Jack argue about priorities. Ralph insists that the building shelters and keeping the signal fire are more important than hunting for meat. Their disagreement highlights the growing division between civilization and savagery. Simon, in contrast to the others, quietly helps the younger boys and then ventures alone into the forest, where he finds a peaceful spot surrounded by nature. This moment hints at his deeper connection to the island and foreshadows his role as a more spiritual or insightful character. So, interesting chapter.
Yeah, we've only scratched the surface.
You can start to see where things are going to come into conflict.
Yeah.
So that was chapters 1 through 3. We have a couple questions here about what could kind of spark some conversation and just go through them. Got about 13 of them. These are on character and leadership. One What qualities makes Ralph a good leader? Do you think he was the right choice over Jack?
I mean, we don't have like an age yet for these people, so we don't know if like Ralph was picked for him being the older boy on the island versus, them truly believing that he's the leader type.
Let's just say they're the same age. Everyone's the same age. Except for the Litlins.
The Litlins.
Slang for young. Didn't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, as from just the first 3 chapters, like, I think he probably was the proper selection to kind of lead the boys. Probably more so based on who's going to be the one to take initiative.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like if you're standing in a group and it's like, all right, we need someone to do this. And everyone's kind of just like looking at each other and someone's like, fine, I'll do it. And it's like, okay, that'll be our leader.
Yeah,
so
he
I
was
feel
the
like
one.
he just kind of adopted it versus, all right, we're all going to pick the person who we believe to be the best, because obviously there's already kind of a power struggle going on.
Yeah, I feel like he is the right leader, just because he seems the most confident and the most optimistic about things. I also think like if Jack was the one that the story started on and Ralph came in, like would Ralph be like, would he gain everyone's support? I don't know. All right. How does Jack's personality change between chapter 1 and chapter 3? What does this suggest about his character? Does this remind you of English class in high school?
Yeah. Got like a workbook to fill out.
So
What do you
he basically went from super confident, and then he didn't kill the pig, and then now he's like super hyper focused on killing the pig.
Do you think
So I think
he's
he's a little
losing sight of the mission?
I wouldn't say that, because I do think part of the mission is getting food. I do think that he has changed based on his failure that he's adapting to. So I think it's a good change. I don't think there's anything negative.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
What does Piggy contribute to the group, and why do the other boys disregard him?
Well, I mean, the spectacles there are being used to create the fire, which is kind of their lifeline. That's obviously,
Yeah,
on surface, that's certainly his major contribution so far.
true. Anything else you think he contributes? I feel like he gives like a motherly energy of like needing to care about everything.
Like
care
a
about
nurturing quality.
Yeah, just like he's worried and he's really like concerned about how everyone feels. So I feel like he gives the kind of the motherly aspect to the group, which he got some titties on him. Just kidding. All right, this says, I don't really know much about Simon based on the first 3 chapters, but he goes into the woods. Like, does that mean he's kind of in tune with spirituality?
Yeah, maybe he's more curious, more explorative. But yeah, I don't know enough about his character yet to lock down his intentions.
Yeah, it's interesting too, just like seeing these 3 primary characters and how they're all different in their own ways, and how, in a group, how that's going to play out. It's going to be kind of cool to see. Okay, so this talks about the conch shell representing order and civilization. How does its role in chapter 2 establish the theme of leadership and rules?
It's kind of like what's the hammer or the gavel? Order,
Yeah.
Order.
True.
Yeah.
kinda-
it's like they
needed it.
Yeah, they needed it. Or else everyone's going to be talking over each other. And it's like their first attempt, like you mentioned, at establishing some rule and order. And there's already conflicts with that. And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like that's going to have a deeper meaning in the future.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know this is going to happen, but I'm predicting that someone's going to break the conch shell. They're going to be like, give me it.
And they both rip pieces off of it.
Yeah.
And they can't use it to call someone back.
Yeah, they're like, wait, he doesn't know we're here.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay, what is the significance of the fire getting out of control? How does it symbolize the boys' relationship with power and responsibility?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing as the conch, where it's like they know what they need to do, and they've already done it. Like we've tried to establish, the power of communication and listening to others and knowing that they need to create some type of signal, but things are getting out of control.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to figure out a way to reel it back in, and I think focus on the mission at hand, which is survival. But even then, I think with the choir boys are like, kind of fighting over who gets what task. And so it's like, is that their way of trying to figure out like, well, you've got the skill set to do this versus, no, we don't think you're good at doing anything else, so we're going to put you on this, something that may not feel as important.
Interesting, yeah. I agree with you on that. I think, the fire is very important. It's how they're going to stay warm.
Well, and also too, just like based on what we know, like fire is kind of everything. Like to survive, light, warmth, shelter, use it to cook.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it is the most important tool.
It's
if you're going to be stranded somewhere, like if you can't get a fire, like you're probably not, your chances of survival are certainly going to be a lot lower.
Yeah. Fuck.
And so it's like, but no one really wants to do that task because maybe
they don't think
they
it's
don't
important.
see it that way yet.
Well, hopefully they don't end up losing that fire because of that. Okay, so the idea of the beastie is introduced, chapter 2. Do you think it's real or is it a symbol of something deeper?
I think it could be both. Because I think it's like you've got kids on this island, and I think it's just the representation of fear. Of something that they're afraid of, whether it's, because when you're a kid, like you're scared of clowns, you're scared of ghosts, you're scared of, now it's like you're on this island. Yeah. And so it could have been a tiny snake that had a big shadow or, so I think, I don't know how they're going to end up exposing that, but I think there's a chance that it could be overinflated.
Yeah. I agree. I'm kind of leaning more towards it's not real, and it's just like kind of the author's way of showing that the kid is like actually deathly afraid, doesn't have his mom or dad, and that was kind of the author's way of like explaining the fear in the story. And he used a snake, which is very symbolic.
Yeah, snakes are evil.
Easily could be real too. What is the biggest problem the boys face at this point in the novel? The lack of adults, the environment, or themselves? I want to go ahead and say I think it's the environment. I feel like they need to harness what they have. And being the fire, they need to get food. They need to set that up. I feel like that's literally like if they don't, they're going to die. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's probably more so the lack of adults, because I think naturally kids can do well in like nature environments where it's like they're explorative, they're spontaneous. Maybe they're afraid of things or they're not afraid of things that they don't know that they should be afraid of yet. And so it's like, imagine you've had a mother your entire life and then all of a sudden they're gone. It's like,
yeah.
So I think the lack of parents guiding them through survival is probably more so of the problem as of right now.
Interesting.
I see where you're coming from. Because I don't think the reality is kicked in that like we're going to have to do this by ourselves if we want to survive.
Yeah.
I don't think they know that yet.
They don't. Ralph and Jack argue about the importance of building shelters versus hunting. Whose side would you take and why?
I don't know. I'd say the hunting's more important. You got to eat.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, well, then if you don't build a shelter, it starts raining, you can't build a fire, you can't even cook the meat. So it's like, does the chicken come before the egg?
Good point. I feel like when I first thought about it, I was leaning towards like, dude, you got to kill the pig, like get some food, because that's like literally like
energy. Like,
yeah. That's what I focus on every day. It's like, what am I going to eat next?
Yeah.
Type thing. So they got to get it together though. Okay, so if you were stranded on the island with this group, what role do you think you would take? Thought that was kind of an interesting question. What role?
I mean, I feel like I could be the leader. But I'd probably focus more on the hunt.
Really?
Yeah. Because I prioritize the importance of energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if we don't have any energy, we can't climb back up the mountain to keep the fire going, or, we can't build our shelter if we don't have any energy. So, yeah, I think the first priority would be finding food.
True.
Food and water, of course.
I think for me, too, it would be the leader as well. I feel like I'm good at organizing people and setting things up. So I think that would probably be the main task that I would do. I don't think I would be the hunter, but I feel like I could also set the fire up. And I feel like I would, obviously I'd be a kid, so I don't know, but just seeing the importance of like doing the menial tasks would be something that I could do. And I wouldn't have a problem with. Okay, so some predictions. Foreshadowing. I'm right next to this window. I'm freezing cold. What does Jack's growing obsession with hunting suggest about his future actions? Think he's going to get the pig?
Yeah, I think he's eventually going to get it.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be more so like, can they kill it? Like, because it was trapped in the vines alive. And I think it's maybe like the innocence of like being a kid. And it's like, you can't really do any harm if you don't know. You're not killing animals.
Yeah.
And so I think Jack will be faced with a decision where he captures it and he's going to have to, kill it to eat the food. And so understanding that certain bad things have to happen or challenging things have to happen in order for you to get what you want, which for them is survival and food. So I think that's what I would foreshadow.
Yeah, I'd agree. I also think that I could see it going this way where Jack having to do that and having to like kind of change who he is in a way that he might go too far where he's now like maybe really likes killing, or he is so hyper focused on killing that he ends up like hurting someone in the process. I could see that happening.
Yeah. What if they can't find food? What if the pig is a symbol for Piggy and he gets walked over and they can't eat any food and they're like cannibalistic?
Well, when it comes down to survival, like, are you going to take the skinny kid or are you going to take the one with all
the blubber?
I mean, shoot, that might happen. That sounds realistic. Like, that's R.I.P. Piggy. All right. How do you think fear will affect the boys' decisions moving forward?
I think it'll have more, like, fear will play more of a role.
I think it'll be more of a, motivating force for, like, okay, we're actually not going to be saved. You have to do this or else we're going to fucking kill you.
Yeah. Or it's just, if we don't do this, we'll die. Yeah, I think fear will play a bigger role. Okay,
final one. Based on their behavior so far, do you think the boys will maintain order or will things fall apart?
They're going to have to fall apart.
Yeah. So you think like in
they're going to have to fall apart before they get together.
I agree. I agree with that.
Like someone's going to, I think there's a wake-up call coming. Like someone's going to have to die. Well, and the little one he's gone.
Yeah, maybe he's dead already. They find his body.
Yeah, getting eaten by a snake. It's
perfectly cooked from the fire.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. They find his body and they're like, well, Jack's not back with the pig.
And he's already dead. We don't have to, it's not like we killed him.
Dang. I take the calf muscle.
Taking that booty. All right. Chapters 1 through 3, Lord of the Flies. Tune in next Saturday for chapters
4 through 6.
4 through 6, yeah. Let's do it.
And so that'll give us a month. How many chapters are in here again?
I think there's 12. 12.
Afterward.
But yeah, I think that's pretty good. We just give like a little summary of each chapter, and then we've got a couple questions that'll spark a little debate,
Yeah, I think
a little
there's
combo.
12.
And if you're doing a research project on this book, tune into the video.
Yeah. Post that on YouTube.
Give you a little insight.
Yeah. Lord of the Flies.
We'll be back. All right. Good.
Good.
Nice.